everybody from YouTube. I just got back from Abel Reservoir down in Stafford, Virginia. Went out there Sunday in probably about 95-degree heat. But the good news is I caught a boatload of fish trolling. I caught a bunch of white perch and crappie trolling out there in the heat, and it was a lot of fun. So today's video is talking a little bit about that action. But wanted to talk about a concept you need to keep in mind when you're trying to catch fish in this unbelievable heat, and that is understanding the thermocline layer. I'm going to talk about what is the thermocline layer, how to identify the thermocline layer with your fish finder, and what it really means in terms of being successful in this really blazing hot heat of the summer and your ability to catch fish. So anyways, let's get to it. Let's talk about the importance of the thermocline layer, especially in these hot summer months when you're fishing, and why does that matter? Okay, so this is a pretty typical graphic of your lake and reservoir. And in the hot summer months, what happens is you have the upper layer of the lake that actually gets heated, and it actually starts to push down on the lower, colder water below. Right, so layer 1 is the warmest, and layer 3 is the coldest. And what happens is when this water actually gets heated and it starts to push down on this colder water, it actually traps that colder water down below in the lake or the reservoir. And the reason this is an issue is because when you have waste, decaying fish or decaying plants, it all floats to the bottom, and then you have microorganisms that will break down that debris. But what happens is, because they end up trapped down in this third layer, those microorganisms actually consume all the oxygen, and that water area becomes very toxic, right? The fish can't really survive there. So what ends up happening, where the cold and the warm water meet, there's a layer called the thermocline layer that gets created, and that's what you see is layer 2, right? And what happens is, especially when the morning hours are over in a lot of these lakes, I mean the very early morning hours, and they're done feeding, a lot of the fish will actually retreat to deeper water. But the deeper water they're going to go to is going to be in that thermocline layer, that layer 2, not down to the deepest water. And the reason for that is because the oxygen content in the thermocline layer is actually the highest, right? So that's really important to understand in these hot summer months, is when those very early morning hours are over and the fish retreat into the deeper water, they're going to go to that thermocline layer. Now, this is actually a pretty good representation of where the typical thermocline layer is for lakes around here. It's usually 10 to 15 feet deep. But how do you spot this, right, using the fish finder? So I've got a couple of pictures here from when I was out at Abel Reservoir, how you can spot it. Now, this is a Lowrance fish finder. Every fish finder is a little bit different. But on the Lowrance, you can see this is about 14 feet down. And you can see the fish signals, right? The fish signals, some of them are at 5 feet, but there's a fair number of them at about 10 feet down. And then you see this fuzz, these blue dots, sort of like a fuzzy representation on the screen. And that's the actual thermocline layer, right? That's what it looks like on your fish finder, right? And so, like I said, it's about 10 feet down that day in Abel Reservoir, which doesn't surprise me given the amount of heat we have. But you'll see these fish signals. You're never going to find the fish signals below the thermocline layer in these lakes, right? So here's another picture of it, right? Once again, this is 18 feet. This is about 10, 11 feet down roughly. You can see the thermocline layer in terms of the fuzz, and then above it you see a bait ball, and then you see the fish signals. So So once again, it's really important. So if you're in the later part of the day and you're trying to locate fish, you got to find that thermocline layer, and you're going to want to concentrate on that depth to be able to hook up with your fish. So let's look at some examples from Abel that I had to prove this out on last Sunday. Okay, it looks like the thermocline's down around probably 12 feet, and you can see there's a lot of fish sign in deeper water at anywhere from 5 to 10 feet, somewhere in that range. So can't say I'm surprised. So we'll see what's up. Got one. Got another one. Got two fish on trolling. Yeah, he's on. Oops. Damn, I got two. Where the hell you go? Oh. Come on, don't do that. Yeah, I got that fish on too. White, looks like a white perch. All right, I think I got one on here too. Yep, I think I do. Oh yeah. Oh, this one's a little bit bigger. Another white perch. Okay, everybody, that's it. You can see there's definitely fish to catch in the hot summer days. I caught a bunch of white perch, missed a couple of big ones, but I had a boatload of fun out there. So some tips for hot summer fishing I'll leave you with. One is I would absolutely fish the shallows at first light. That's 30 minutes before the sun comes up. And usually what happens is when the sun comes up, those fish start moving to submerged structure. I would start looking for that thermocline layer and start fishing at the thermocline layer or a little bit above it. Also look for bait balls. I covered that in my last video. If you see bait balls around that thermocline layer, you're definitely going to want to fish that area. And the one thing I'll leave you with, try to train yourself to stop beating the shoreline, right? That's a habit that I had for years and didn't produce much of anything. So anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you found it informative. And if you like it, please subscribe. Thanks for watching.